Trust Me helps your group develop trust and a higher level of commitment to one another. Participants lean backwards into the supporting arms of a partner, relying on their partner to keep them safe. Partners switch and experience both the supporting and the trusting roles in this classic activity. Begin by demonstrating the proper leaning technique with the help of a volunteer. First, the leaning participant must stand tall and straight, feet together, with arms crossed across his or her body. Arms may simply be crossed, but the preferred position is arms crossed, hands locked and pulled into the chest as shown. This position reduces the likelihood that the leaner's elbows will come away from the body and injure another participant. The leaning party must also keep his or her body as rigid and stiff as possible during the activity. Ask participants to practice assuming the leaning position for a few moments. Next, demonstrate the proper spotting technique. The spotter stands directly behind the leaner, feet shoulder-width apart, with one foot in front of the other and knees slightly bent. Ask group members to imagine that they are pushing against a wall, weight forward and hands up, palms open about 4 to 6 inches from the shoulder area of the volunteer. Instruct group members to follow along and practice. Take a few moments to make sure your group has mastery of both the leaning and spotting positions before moving on. Next, address primary safety concerns, including observation of the head and neck region. This area is the most important part and deserves the most attention. Once participants have a thorough understanding of the requirements and safety concerns, ask participants to break into pairs, aligning by height as much as possible. There are a series of commands that must be communicated before anyone is to lean into the support of their partner. First, the leaning participant assumes the proper leaning position as the spotting participant assumes the proper spotting position. Next, the leaning participant asks his or her partner, "Ready?" Ready is immediately followed by his or her partner's name. For example, if Jesse and Sam were partners, Sam would ask, "Ready, Jesse?" Jesse would respond, "Ready, Sam." Sam's next communication is "Trusting Jesse?" to which Jesse would reply, "Trusting Sam." As the leaner, once Sam hears, "Trusting Sam," Sam should have full confidence that Jesse is in the correct position, hands only 5 to 6 inches from the shoulders and at the ready. Sam would lean back, pivoting on the heels, committing to Jesse. Jesse gently supports Sam at the shoulders and guides Sam back to a standing position. Have participants do this several times and become comfortable with the process, and then switch roles. Remind group members to be safe and use the commands on each try. It is critical you remind your group to take this activity seriously. Participants should do everything possible to make it a comfortable and trusting environment for all involved. Be sure the partners are using the correct body positions as spotters and leaners, and use the appropriate commands. Make an effort to back up participants if you think a safety concern exists. Stand directly behind the leaner and be prepared to help. Do not take over. Control the distance from spotter to leaner and ensure there are no joyride attempts. Here are 2 successful variations of Trust Me. First is Willow in the Wind. In this variation, groups of 8 to 15 form a tight circle around a volunteer and stand in the proper spotting position. A tight circle with no gaps is critical to the success of this activity. The center volunteer takes on the leaning position and communicates the proper commands with the group before leaning. The group is to gently pass the volunteer around, supporting his or her upper body. Allow each willing volunteer a few moments in the center. The second variation is Group Lift. This activity is challenging and recommended for highly supportive teams dedicated to each other's safety. Start in the same configuration as Willow in the Wind. Once the commands have been communicated to the group, the volunteer leans back into the support of the spotters behind him or her. The spotters directly behind the volunteer are completely responsible for the head and neck during the lift. The remaining participants take places around the volunteer and work together to lift the volunteer off the ground. The volunteer should only be lifted as high as the shortest person's arms can reach. After a few moments, lower the volunteer back to the ground, lowering the feet to the ground first so he or she is back in a standing position.